Be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. That's a very well-known quote in the investment world. As you probably know, it comes from Warren Buffett. Similarly, we also have Baron Rothschild, who was an 18th century banker who said the time to buy is when blood is running in the streets. And those two pieces of advice are all well and good, but in reality, buying the dip is actually a lot harder to do in the present moment when everything around you seems to be chaotic and collapsing. It's actually difficult to do in practice. Of course, we had the recent Black Monday event in crypto a little over a week ago. We have global markets that are really looking unstable in a lot of ways as far as key indicators go. We have increasing military escalation, unfortunately. There's always going to be plenty of negative news out there. However, there is also lots of positive news that I want to highlight, that I want to talk about, because it does exist. That makes me bullish. And as always, we have to look for the opportunities when and where they exist. We're experiencing a dip right now, kind of starting to come out of it, but we are in the dip. And as such, I want to capitalize on 3 altcoin projects in particular that I know are going to do well again based on their fundamentals once things really start to pick up again. Welcome to the channel. My name is Matty and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest, whether you're buying the dip with these 3 choices that we're highlighting today or any other altcoin in the space. I do wish you well. Just remember that I'm not a financial or investment advisor, and that means that this video is not official financial or investment advice. The first project that we're looking at and the comeback kid of crypto is Solana, ticker SOL. Now, let's get some perspective here. During this worldwide financial meltdown, we're calling it Black Monday, Solana actually kept steady. As you can see, we're sitting now at $148, which is actually above where we were a little over a week ago. So let's call that 8 days ago, before that precipitous tumble in price occurred. So we've actually made up all the ground that's been lost, which is nice. And that's significant because it shows confidence in Solana. It dropped from about $142 to $110 and has since come all the way up to $159. It sits, as you can see now as I record, at $148. So we're seeing a lot of resilience in this project. There's also a lot of other good news happening in the space. Solana actually briefly flipped BNB for the 4th spot in crypto as measured by market cap. It's back now at number 5, but it's giving BNB a run for its money. Solana also keeps breaking all-time highs versus Ethereum. The SOL ETH pair is up by more than 8%. And so this is a trend that we just continue to observe. More and more money from Ethereum flows into Solana. In July alone, for example, we saw almost $500 million bridged from other chains to Solana, which includes $349 million from Ethereum to Solana. Also, and you've probably heard about this one, it's a big deal, Brazil's regulators have approved the launch of the world's first SOL spot ETF. That is massive news. Now, this is nothing that's going to affect the SEC anytime soon as far as their approval process for a SOL spot ETF, but it does set a precedent internationally in the same way, let's say Canada, for example. We approved spot ETFs for ETH well before the Americans did, or the SEC did, I should say, but it sets a precedent that other countries and their institutions can look back on. Check out this video, by the way, if you haven't seen it. We do a deep dive into the possibility of a SOL spot ETF. And by the way, speaking of Canada, not only were we leaders in terms of that Ethereum ETF, the spot ETF, but we also have had a Solana ETF fund since June of 2024. So that's been in place now for a couple of months. And then rounding out the positive news for Solana, DePIN, of course, is one of the hottest crypto sectors in 2024. And Solana really is leading the charge by having the most DePIN projects on its chain. According to Masari, we're looking at no fewer than 78 projects. That means Solana is surpassing all other chains with that number of 78. So really, Solana, in no uncertain terms, is firing on all cylinders. You cannot keep a good chain down, and this project is a testament to that. And to be fair, the main problem with Solana, or at least one of the main criticisms, was its outages. In all of 2023 and 2024, however, there were only 2 chain outages, so this is no longer really a valid criticism. Both of these 2 instances occurred in February of each respective year. And so that used to be a major Achilles heel, admittedly, of the project, but not anymore. And so this update to the stability of Solana really does round out a great project that is otherwise firing on all cylinders. Solana's future looks very, very, very bright. Next up here, and at number 2, we're looking at Sui, S-U-I. which is another project that's part of my favorites list. It's been a year since its launch now, and it really has grown on me during that time, over these last 12 months. Their team simply keeps building, and their ecosystem keeps growing. For example, their NFTs with Prime Machin are leading the charge. You can read up on our articles about them. I'll link to this in the description below. But let's consider specifically what they're building. Their latest news was about Misty City. That is their new consensus mechanism. It effectively validates a transaction and marks it as authentic. In other words, this is the beating heart of a blockchain. And of all blockchain, it offers the lowest latency. That deals with the delay that happens between a user taking an action on a network and when they get a response. So on a blockchain, it's therefore when you submit a transaction to a network. Now you get the first confirmation of acceptance by the network, and that is the latency, the time difference or the delta between those two events. And Misty City's latency is 390 milliseconds, or just about instantly. It also offers high throughput and has low computation costs. Transactions are now lightning fast between apps, which, for example, is very important for gaming. That is one of the biggest sectors that Sui is focusing on. And Sui actually has another trump card in its hands as well. That is the Sui Play 0x1, which is a handheld gaming device for Web3 that expects to launch in 2025. However, there is a waitlist that you can sign up for. There is a link to that, which we'll include in the description of the video below. And by the looks of it, this could well be a game changer for blockchain gaming. Other very strong news for Sui includes the fact that Grayscale is about to launch a Sui fund. In other words, institutions are starting to pay attention to Sui. Now, the Grayscale Sui Trust focuses on the Sui SUI token, and keep in mind that Grayscale already has these kinds of trusts for big heavyweights in the space: Solana, Chainlink, Near, and Stacks. People are excited about Sui. As I record here, it's sitting at $1.04. That is up 16% on the day, so it's already starting to rebound nicely off of this dip. If we zoom out though and we consider the totality of its price action, we can see that it's still got some ground to make up in terms of reachieving its all-time high above $2. So there's still room for a lot of price appreciation. So we were just talking about Sui, and today's Altcoin Buzz Spotlight video is sponsored by Sui. And their unique object-based blockchain makes it a great place to make and to play games. Because as I mentioned, transactions are faster and cheaper than most other chains out there with no compromise whatsoever on security. And Sui really is a pioneer here in the blockchain gaming space with their introduction of the first Web3 mobile gaming device. That is the Sui Play 0x1. This is powered by Playtron, and it's the gaming console of the future, which is unfolding before our eyes right now. With Sui Play 0x1, you're earning in-game rewards wherever you may be playing, meaning you no longer have to be tied to your PC or your phone to play. Now, the Sui Play 0x1 is going to be on sale soon, but you can get on the waitlist right now to be sure you get one as soon as ordering opens up. Check the description below for the link and get on the waitlist today. Rounding out the list here at number 3, we're considering a project in the RWA sector, real-world assets, which really is one of the hottest crypto narratives at the moment. And we're looking here at ONDO Finance, ONDO, which truly does play the first fiddle in this sector. As measured by market cap in RWAs, ONDO leads with a pretty handsome margin, $1.125 billion market cap. ONDO mainly targets institutions. However, individuals can also trade on their platform. Before you start trading on ONDO, you'd need to complete a KYC as an individual, and companies need to complete a KYB, that's Know Your Business. But that's okay, no worries, you can trade their ONDO token on exchanges without having to complete a KYC. Just keep in mind that ONDO Finance is not available for US residents or entities, unfortunately. ONDO's popularity is at least partially due to BlackRock getting involved in RWAs. They launched their BUIDL, that's BUIDL tokenized treasury fund, and ONDO has moved $95 million of assets to this fund. And in what has been described as a pretty stunning turn of events, ONDO recently surpassed BlackRock TVL for RWAs. Not by much, but still, they edged out BlackRock by a couple of $1 million. And on the platform, you can trade in 2 tokenized notes. USDY, which is backed by short-term US treasuries and bank demand deposits with a 5.35% APY. And the other option is OUSG, which is backed by US treasuries, but only available for qualified purchases. The ONDO token definitely retraced on Black Monday, as did pretty much every other project. However, it made a decent comeback, sitting now, as you can see, at 76.5 cents or so. It's pretty much made up the losses that it incurred on Black Monday a little over a week ago. However, the entirety of the last month, if you look at the trend, has been a little bit negative. We expect this to change in the relatively near future. But this is a great project for a lot of reasons. It's got the institutional interest behind it in the form of heavyweights like BlackRock, and it dominates the #1 spot in a crypto narrative that is just about as important as they come, alongside DePIN and artificial intelligence, AI. And just as a couple of quick honorable mentions here, we do have a couple of other projects that are worthy of mentioning, at least briefly. We have, for example, Jupiter, JUP, Arweave, ticker AR, and Mantra, ticker OM. They are #2, by the way, in terms of crypto market cap ranking in the RWA space, just behind ONDO Finance. Let me know which of these projects is your favorite in terms of the ones that we've talked about in this video. Perhaps we've missed a project that's worthy of consideration, that has taken a tumble in price, and that's worth scooping up now on the dip. If that's the case, and if we've missed something that is near and dear to you, let me know what that project is. We'll cover it shortly in a future video.